Hi guys, welcome to today's show. Chris from Enclosure here, and I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Alright, I'm not at the facility today, and I actually stumbled across this in a buddy's garage, and I thought this will actually make a great point in one of our series here. And here I've got a fish tank. You buy these as fish tanks. You don't buy them as fish tanks slash reptile enclosures slash the perfect pet enclosure. These are purpose-built, purpose-made fish tank, and that's for a reason. We're going to cover all those points in today's little talk. The first problem is these units you buy from your local pet shop as is with these lids, and this creates the first problem. It's right here. Number one, it's extremely lightweight lid, very inadequate ventilation. As you can see at the back here, in that little hole here, and we're going to get you that now on temperature regulation. So the first thing you need to do just to keep a reptile in here is to do severe lid modifications. So you're going to have to build and construct a whole new lid. And number one, it's going to be labor intensive. Number two, it's going to cost you a bit more than anticipated. So now your bargain is not becoming such a big bargain anymore. And after now replacing this, that brings us to our next challenge, is now we need to insulate this. And glass is pretty bad at insulating temperatures. If I'm going to hold my hand here for a couple of seconds, I will actually be able to feel the inside heat radiated within just a matter of seconds. And the problem with this is it creates dramatic fluctuations in temperatures. The same with humans. If you take a snake and you cool them down gradually, that's perfect. And the reason for that is we need that to create breeding cycles in snakes. So what now? The problem is with severe fluctuations, it's a shock in their system. And a few things that's going to happen here. Number one, you're now exposing the snake to respiratory infection. Number two, you're stressing out the snake because it's not the ideal environment. And number three, if that snake had a meal, you're creating a world of problems with the risk of regurgitation. And we're going to cover that in a whole different series. Regurgitation will set you back a couple of weeks, if not a month or so. Regurgitations are bad in general. So then let's say we address the problem of the bad insulation and we install a heat source. The problem is with the heat source installed in here is we're not creating the ambient inside temperature for the reptile. We're actually just battling the outside elements. So we're creating an environment that's just basically stopping it from fluctuating very fast up and down. So it's still not ideal. You've covered some of the problems, but you haven't resolved the problem completely. And now putting a heat source in here, being glass, let's say for example, we have load shedding, that power source switches off, cools down completely, power comes back on, and it just shocks the whole system. And if you've got an infrared light bulb in here, you've got a pretty potent heat pad in here, it might potentially shatter or crack this glass. We all know what happens with glass and temperature fluctuations. It's a bad idea. So that is just not the ideal environment. But now let's say we insulate this with expanding foam or whatever barrier you decide to put on the sides. This comes with its own problems. You're going to have to insert something in here, and every single thing that you insert in here, you're actually stealing space from your reptile. So you're actually invading the moving space of that reptile. You're actually hindering it from moving as it should. But all right, now we've done that. We've got it insulated. We've taken away space, but we've still got a species that can survive in that time, in that space frame. The other problem is everything from the top. This creates a ventilation problem. So the definition of ventilation is normally an inlet and an outlet. The problem this creates, especially with these lids, let's say you've modified these lids, that they work in a way that you're happy and everything's going to plan. The problem with hot air, it rises. And what's happening here is you're basically just pushing air and you're creating what they call an exhaust effect out of the ventilation. If you do entire mesh top, number two, humidity is going to create a problem in the sense of you're not going to control that humidity. Your temperature, hot air rises. So you just basically, wherever a heat source is, your heat source is just going to escape from the top. You're not creating and utilizing that ambient temperature. And like you'll see in one of the videos, in our previous videos, we were talking about creating ambient temperature, and this is not the ideal environment to create ambient temperatures. And the problem with these glass enclosures as well, they come with this polystyrene at the bottom. And this is too well insulated. So you can't put any heat sources under this. You need to put it inside the tank to address your insulation problems with these tanks. So yeah, those are one of the problems. But let's say I'm not insulating it. It's a see-through unit all around, so it gives you a 360 view. And the problem is that creates a feeling for the snake that he's not secure in his own little space. It actually creates an environment where every single movement around that snake, and we all get that Muppets, I mean, I own a few of them, that doesn't use the hide boxes as they should. They actually do whatever the hell they want. And the problem is he's going to lie in the open. Everything that moves around the snake enclosure or fish tank is just going to, he's going to notice that, it's going to stress him out, it's going to wonder what's going on. Is the predator approaching me? What's happening? So not a good idea to keep them in these enclosures. And also the problem, and something I've noticed over the years, is top access enclosures creates a feeling of predation. I've noticed that when you approach certain snakes, when you approach aggressive python, you take them from the side and you can take them out, even the most aggressive pythons or non-venomous snakes. The second you take them head on or from above, you guys know what's going to happen. We're going to be taking off pictures of some cool bleeding pigs. So not recommended. So number one, every time you want to do something in that enclosure, whether it's feeding, topping up the water, or just spot cleaning, you're going to have to access from the top, and that creates a feeling of predation for the snake. And that's, once again, that's stress for your snake. And stress is the worst thing you can do to a snake. It just opens up back doors for a lot of other problems going with it. So, and then the last point, and these are just a few points, we'll open up the comments for your guys, for your input as well, is it's not space friendly. We all know, once you buy one, it doesn't stop there. We always say this is the last one until the next one comes along. They're not space friendly, they're not stackable. They're stackable side to side, and that's the only benefit to them. But as I open up this lid, the minimum here is I can't stack anything on top of that. And even if I do a mesh top, I still need to open it up. So I can't stack another unit. Like if you've got a collection that you're expanding, stackability is your biggest friend. And we'll actually talk about racking systems and stackable units at a later stage. But these guys aren't space friendly. So if I missed anything, please feel free to comment down below. And if share your experience with us. Otherwise than that, guys, have a great day and look after yourselves.